Pagers, other mobile devices, if you could please turn those off right now to assist with the flow of our meeting. And right now, I will ask my fellow commission or committee members and our county attorney if they would turn on their microphones and introduce themselves to everyone.
Jason Phillips, County Attorney.
Ray Wooten, Director of Water.
George Jones, Director of Transportation.
Bruce Coyle, County Engineer.
Tabitha Pollard, County Manager.
Thank you all, and welcome, Tabitha, to our little committee. We have several agenda items today. Our first agenda item is review of the minutes from the March 18th, 2025 meeting. If everyone's had an opportunity to review those, I will call for a motion on their approval.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve Mr. Jones, seconded by Mr. Coyle. Any questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. The minutes are approved unanimously. Our first case today is case 2025-01-W, application by Brent Paris requesting to waive Development Regulation 1.7.3C to allow a fourth residential home off of a private easement. It is tract 10 on a plat we have available. Property is located in land lots 321, District 1, Section 3. It is located south of Ridge Road and west of Ridgewood Creek Path. Property address is 190 Ridgewood Creek Path, and it is located in Post 2. Is the applicant present? Okay, if you'd like to come up and make your presentation.
So this plat was sent
Oop, nope. If you go over to the podium and there is a sign-in sheet. Nope, yep, behind you.
There you go. All right.
And there's a sign-in sheet, so if you'll go ahead and sign in with that so you don't forget.
So we submitted this plat as it is and was given permission to build. I pulled all 10 permits, started the homes, and then we had a line of sight issue. Or let me go back. We had a line of sight issue with the plat and moved the entrance to the subdivision down about 600 feet. Resubmitted a plat showing that new entrance, and that tract 10 was already shown off of that easement. Plat got signed off on, approved. I pulled the permits, got the houses pretty much built, and then turned in a plat revision that had nothing to do with the waiver that we're discussing today. And then that's when it kind of got called to y'all's attention, and then here we are.
Okay. Does anybody on the committee have any questions?
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
You do realize how far back from the road that house is going to be? It's going to be over 1,200 feet. You know, we have pressure up there at the road. It's just going back as far as you are. You need to make sure you take that into consideration.
That tract, along with the tract next to it, everything but those two lots that are over 1,200, they're on individual wells.
Okay.
And the only question I would have is, this is the fourth lot, and so all the lots located on Ridgewood Creek Path have at least 2 acres.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions?
You have a maintenance agreement amongst your neighbor and other lot owners to keep that road up?
Yes, sir.
And the road is already constructed, correct?
The road is constructed. All we lack is final grading, and we're going to asphalt blacktop it. It's not stated on the plat that it's going to be asphalt, but we're going to asphalt it.
Any other questions? Okay, sorry, thank you. You can sit down. This is a public hearing, so is there anyone in the audience present who would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition to this application? Being how there are none, I will close the public hearing portion. And I apologize for not stating earlier, we did receive one general call with question about this property, but it was not an opposition, it was just a question. Does anyone have a motion on this agenda item?
I motion we approve the fourth house off this easement.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mr. Coyle, seconded by Mr. Wooten. Does anyone have any questions or comments? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None. The motion is approved by a unanimous vote. Our next application is case number 2025-2-W, application by Cabot Creek Consulting LLC, requesting to waive Development Regulation 5.9.1, requiring curb and gutter installation along the Garmin Road, Ridge Road, and Bethel Road project. Property is located in land lots 1126 and 1179, District 2, Section 3, located north and south of the Ridge Road and Bethel Road intersection in Post 3. Is the applicant present? Okay, if you'd like to come up. And just for everyone in the audience, the next two case numbers, 2025-2 and 6, refer to the same piece of property. Bethel Church Road, okay.
Hi, thank you everybody for your time. Steve Oxman with Cabot Creek Consulting, requesting a waiver of the curb and gutter requirement along Ridge Road for the lots here. The reason for the request is we would like to improve the roadside ditches that are currently in place and not disrupt any current drainage patterns that are working and working well. The plan is to improve those drainage patterns and not disrupt them by adding curb and gutter and all the stormwater installation.
Okay, does anybody on the committee have any questions?
With your development and adding impervious surfaces, you're going to take that into account with these new updated drainage ditches, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes. They've already been designed. Engineers, Jeff Kidd is here as well from Ackerman Design Group. So any technical questions with drainage patterns or impervious areas, he can definitely help you out with. But yes, sir.
What is the distance between the back of right-of-way to where you're installing the streets?
So in this scenario, we're going to use the existing Ridge Road and Bethel Church and Garmin as well as the roads. I don't know the exact amount. We're actually giving additional right-of-way, so the distance between the current edge of pavement and the front of the lots is actually less now than what it will be when the final plat's in place and the right-of-way dedication is given.
Yeah, I'm a little more concerned, we have put water meters at the right-of-way, and we need to know, before you go into your alley, I'm just curious as to you have any
We're
dimensions?
not talking about that one yet.
Do what?
We're not talking about the alley yet. This is curb and gutter.
Oh, this is curb and gutter? I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, Allie's next. I'll be here for a minute.
It just, there is a portion of your overall development where you are adding a new street, and those streets would have curb and gutter?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
They would meet all existing development regulations. We're just talking about the portion of the property that's accessed directly off of Ridge Road right now, Ridge, Garmin, and Mount Bethel.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm good with that.
Oh, you good? Sorry, I just thought you were jumping ahead.
I did, but
Any other questions from the committee? Okay, sir, thank you. At this, we'll announce that we did receive several calls with questions, concerns, and emails in opposition to this request as well as 2025-6. We also received several visits to the office with questions or concerns. At this point, I will ask if there is anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this request. At this point, I will ask if there is anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or concerns. Okay, we have several, so sir, you raised your hand first, so if you'd approach the podium. There is a sign-in sheet, so if you would please sign in and then state your name and direct all of your questions to me.
My name's Roger Bolin, and I live on Ridge Road. I'm the closest house to the development, and I'm definitely in opposition of this without them doing what is pretty much required by Paulding County throughout the county. So curbs and gutters, I feel like need to be there. I definitely have concerns about the shared driveways. I know it's a 50-foot from.
That'll be our next case. So right now,
Okay.
we are just talking
Well,
about
I'm
the curb and
definitely,
gutter.
I'm definitely against that because
on Ridge
I
and
live
Bethel
on
Church and
Ridge and
Garden.
I'm down in the bottom and I've lived there for many, many years. I built $1 million home. And I don't want water and drainage, even though they're going to put a drainage or gutters or fix the side of the road. I know how the water runs there and I'm definitely against that. So I feel like they need to spend the money and do it correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Somebody in the back, raise their hand. Come on, ma'am.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Cheryl Reed, and we reside on Garmin Road. Used to be Bethel Church. And we're opposed to this. We feel like we want to keep our community upgraded as far as the ordinances that have been set out. And the drainage at Garmin and Ridge Road is not good. There's always a big puddle there and people have turned too quickly and they've made a big ditch there and it just puddles up and doesn't go away. So I can't see not doing something. Something should have been done a long time ago and has never been done. So we're opposed to it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or concerns regarding this application? If not, we will close the public hearing portion. Mr. Exman, as the applicant, you do have the chance to address the concerns and comments that have been brought to us, and
Yes,
if there's anything you'd like to say.
Thank you. Yeah, just real quick, the plan is to improve, so we're adding to the clear zone along the edge of pavement. We are regrading the ditches. If the plan moves forward, we are fixing a broken drain pipe under Bethel Church. So these drainage issues that people are speaking about are part of what we're improving for this project. So the lack of curb and gutter doesn't mean that we're not improving drainage along Ridge Road. It means that we're taking what we know about the current drainage, fixing it, and not recreating a drainage pattern that may or may not create unforeseen issues. There are plans in the future to add curb and gutter, but not by me. That's the portion of it for the additional right-of-way. It seems to all make sense to improve what's working now and what's not working and fix it all. So that's the reason for not putting curb and gutter now. We want to fix everything the way it exists now, if that makes sense.
Okay. Does anybody on the committee have any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir. At this point, the public hearing is closed and we have heard all the comments. I would ask if anyone on the committee would like to make a motion regarding this item.
Motion to approve.
Go ahead.
Do you have a question?
No.
Okay, I'm afraid the comment portion is concluded. We have a motion on the table. Would anyone like to second it?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Wooten. Is there any further discussion or comments from the committee? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. The request is approved by a unanimous vote. Our fourth agenda item today is case number 2025-06-W, application by Cabot Creek Consulting LLC, requesting to waive Development Regulations 2.2, that is the definition of alley, and Section 5.4.8, requiring alleys/shared driveways on the sides or behind homes along the Garmin Road, Ridge Road, and there's a little error in our agenda. It should say Bethel Church Road project. Property is located in land lots 1126 and 1179, District 2, Section 3, located north and south of the Ridge Road and Bethel Church Road/Garmin Road intersection, and in Post 3. Mr. Exman, if you'd like to come up and present this portion of your waiver request.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So this portion of the waiver is trying to find a compromise between us and the county and making sure everything's safe. So the county did have issue with having curb cuts along all these same lots that we were just speaking about, having a curb cut driveway access for each lot along Ridge Road. And we felt like the compromise was to have a shared driveway where you would reduce the access points onto Ridge, Garmin in one place, and Bethel Church as well. The challenge became that late in the process, we realized that there might not have been a specific ordinance to allow these shared driveways in front of the homes. So our understanding is that the best fit with the alley ordinance, but in this case, we're asking the waiver so that the alley can be in front of the homes versus an alley being behind the home. And the reason request for the waiver, just from a logistical standpoint on the site, the topography drops off in the back. We felt like it would be much better to have impervious in the driveways up in the front for both the soils for the septic and for the topography. Just from practically speaking, we'd much rather have backyards on these homes away from Ridge Road versus having an alley in the backyard. That's more of a practical reason, but when it comes to the development, the topography drops off in the back, and it made a lot more sense. The good soils are back there as well, so it made more sense to have the quote-unquote alleys in the front of the homes in this scenario.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I got off from, chose the wrong item on the same project, but what is the distance between the right-of-way that's shown on Ridge Road that's going to be, I need the right-of-way to the new proposed roadway. What's your average dimension there? Because we have to install water meters and clean outs in between those.
Give me just a second.
So, Ray, you are approximately...
Sir,
Oh.
everything needs to be done from the podium. The sign-in sheet, we have the microphone up there so everyone can hear.
All right, apologies. So
No
I'm Jeff
worries.
Kidd with Hagerman Design Group. We're the working engineer on this project. So to answer your question, the right-of-way, we're doing a little bit of dedication out there. From current edge of pavement, there's a 60-foot average dimension from edge of pavement to the start of the alley, if that makes sense. And that is both on north and south side of Ridge Road as showed right there.
Okay, and so we're going to have plenty of room behind, right there, right away. So
You should have more than, so I believe, in speaking with Erica, I believe we're going to do a 16-foot shoulder at 2%, followed by the ditch, followed by the alley. So there should be more than sufficient room for water meter placement.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Of course.
I'll go next. I have a couple questions, and since you're up there, this alley, it will not be constructed as a local street. It would not be dedicated to the public. Would it be privately maintained? How would the maintenance of the alley, is there going to be a homeowners association? And so they would be responsible for maintenance of the alley?
Yes, there will be a common HOA and with a shared maintenance agreement so that the HOA would be responsible for maintaining the alleys.
Okay. Will this alley/driveway, whatever we want to call it, will it be one-way traffic? Will there be one way in, one way out? I'm familiar with a similar situation near me, and there's one way out, one way in and one way out. And so just curious, because how wide is the alley going to be? Because I don't know if it really lends itself 20 feet.
Yes, ma'am.
Because
It
if-
is about 20 foot wide. There are two means of access for the larger of the two, I believe. And that is to provide, multiple means of access in case of need for closure for utilities, whatever it may be. But yes, it is supposed to be two-way traffic, so there shouldn't be what
When
you're.
the Amazon truck is bringing
Yeah.
my neighbors.
I know exactly what you're referring to. That should not be an issue here.
Daily shipment, I can still get out.
Right.
Okay, two more questions. How will the garages be situated? We don't have, this is zoned R2. I believe you have submitted or have an approved preliminary plat. You don't foresee rezoning this, so you're leaving it as R2. So there's no requirement as to the garages, but my question is, are they front-loaded, are they side-loaded? Have you considered, on the property having turnarounds so people can, I don't know that I'd want to back into a driveway to get out. So have you given any thought to turnarounds?
Yes to the turnarounds. Most likely, it won't be side entry. Most likely, it'll be front entry.
Okay.
With just a few foot turnaround in the driveway, so you don't have to back into the alley and then
Okay.
back out. But
Would you be
wouldn't
willing to make that a stipulation if there's a recommendation to approve?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Last question. I think Ray there seems to be a pretty good distance between Ridge Road and the houses. Have you given any thought to a fence or landscaping as a visual separation? I'm trying to think of a future resident. I may rather look at some trees than some pavement. Have you thought of several of the instances that I'm aware of? They have fencing and landscaping that's between the main road and the shared driveway / alley.
We hadn't really talked about that too much, just the thought process being that most people would want fenced backyards as an option, and that you really wouldn't have, in my head, because I've got kids, I'm thinking, that I don't live off a Ridge Road, but at the same time, I live off a busy street. I don't like them.
Right. So that's why I was kind of
Playing in
thinking,
the-
like a
playing in the
fence
front
or
yard.
landscaping might provide that break to keep, people, children of all ages,
And we thought
out
about-
of Ridge Road.
And we
they're-
thought about a landscape buffer, but to me, again, as a parent, it's more places where you can't see your kid.
Well, I'm talking about a fence and
About
landscaping in
fences.
between Ridge and the alley.
The fence is not something that we've looked at doing in the.
What about landscaping?
Again,
I don't know. I drove out there yesterday, but I can't remember if there's significant amount of trees. I just think to have that visual separation between Ridge and the alleys. So,
again, some street trees, yes, typically, are gonna be a part of the landscaping package,
Okay.
to begin with. In my head, I'm thinking more bushes and privacy type things, which work both ways, like I said, that if your kids are running around, you can't see your kids.
Right.
So street trees and things of that nature, yes, do plan to be. I'm not gonna be the builder, but as part of HOA that does.
do you have a builder?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you share who that is?
Sure, well, they're not fully under contract yet, so,
Okay.
they have put in an offer, but they probably wouldn't want me saying that.
Okay, no problem. Would you consider another stipulation being some sort of landscaping or visual, like some sort of buffer between the alley / driveway and Ridge Road?
I think that's the plan anyway, so that I
Okay.
don't see a problem with that.
Okay, that's all my questions. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah. Yes, this is going to be hard surface?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it will be paved, and HOA for the overall development's going to look at, or are you going to have individual HOAs, like one driveway serves 3 lots, and if you were on one of them in that other subdivision street you're building, would you want your HOA money to maintain these other driveways, or how are you going to work that?
Right, that's a good point, and I do see doing two separate HOAs, one for the, what I would call conventional subdivision, the 21 lots where we're putting in the new road, and then a separate one for the 20 that are off of existing roads. That makes the most sense to me. You know, I don't think that, I think that once you break it down in those two sections, I think from an HOA standpoint, having to maintain the shared driveways, whether it's the one that you access or not, it's still a fair way to divide things up. You know, same guys are going to put in all the driveways. If there's a failure in the future,
How fast you gonna build the driveways? Are you gonna build them prior to final plat?
no, sir.
Or, so you're gonna wait and the individual builder will come in and build his piece?
Basically build out of it. So they'll come in through one entrance, build, and they should be building a few homes at a time to where each loop is handled at once. But basically, logistically, you start on one, you don't have any, just like you don't have a driveway on your home to begin with, and then you just kind of build out. So let's say you have one driveway entrance right here, 1, 2, 3 homes. You can pave to get this one. Then as you put in your driveway and do your concrete work, do the next one so that you're not dropping lumber, you're not having the big heavy trucks coming in on the new driveway. That's the whole point of doing it later.
Yeah, 'cause the last guy, all of a sudden, he tore the road all up.
Right. And then we'll have, the covenants will have rules about no RVs and heavy equipment being parked on the driveways as well, so that there's no, try to make it as fair as possible, that, you know, if you've got to share it, let's put some rules in place so that your neighbors aren't stuck with problems that.
So you're gonna do tertiary individual permits on the E&S, or how is that gonna work? And you mentioned on the previous one on the drain pipe, on how you were gonna enhance the drainage in that area. I know it's counted for in your ponds, and most all of these do drain back to your engineered pond. But, you know, I was just curious as to, are they gonna be tertiary permittees, or are you going to go ahead and do the civil engineering for each one of these driveways now, or wait and have it show up on separate tertiary plans by the builder?
So we would still do, we would do the tertiary.
You,
Yeah, these will be street graded. So we'll do the tertiary and have it all on the tertiary plans.
so you're gonna do group tertiary, so the driveway
Yes,
can
sir.
be figured
Yes, sir.
out and not
Each
some
loop.
guy in the middle.
Right, each loop, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oop.
You do understand this is in the Sweetwater Basin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's subject to the Cobb County and Paulding County IGA?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One comment, can you confirm, it looks like if you put individual driveways for each of the lots that are along Ridge Road, you'd have 14 driveways. What you're showing is a plan consolidating into 4, is that correct?
That's correct.
Any other questions? If not, thank you, gentlemen. You can have a seat. At this time, I believe we're at the portion. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions, comments, or concerns? Please.
Anybody else? I need to sign it again?
Yeah, it's a different case.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm very disappointed that you guys approved the gutters and the curbs. That's disappointing to me. Second of all, who's going to maintain the ditch that you guys just approved?
We are no longer speaking on that item.
Okay, well, that's disappointing because you won't answer the question, so that upsets me very much, that you approve something without even giving that much thought. Paulding County doesn't do a good job currently, and when they build something...
Sir, we are not talking about
Okay,
that
okay.
agenda item. We
Then
are
I want to
talking
know, does
about
each
the-
one of these houses have a driveway going into them off of this shared road?
Sir, direct all questions to me and we will
Okay.
get them back
I
up.
want to know that each one of them has, what type of a driveway? Is it 10 feet, 5 feet, 50 feet? Does it go to a house? Does it go to a garage? What is it?
I've noted your question and we'll get the applicant back
Okay.
up. So you're asking about the driveway
Correct.
off the alley to the house?
Correct, the
Okay.
shared road. What is the width of the shared road?
I believe they stated it was 20 feet.
Okay, you can't do that. 20 feet shared road, you have to have 14 feet for a fire truck to go up and down the road. You can't park cars on the road and allow a 14-foot access for a fire truck, so that's not going to pass. So that's not good. Second of all, I think you need to reconsider.
Sir, we are not
No,
speaking
no, I'm not,
about
I'm
the
not, I'm not
previous
talking about the
agenda
ditch. I'm
item.
not talking about the ditch. Reconsider that some type of buffer should be allowed between the houses currently that are there. Because what they've got drawn, they're going to build right up against my house, which I will have 8 new houses right up against my $1 million home. And I don't know what the size of the houses are. I don't know what the price range is going to be. I don't know what my new neighbors are going to be like. You know, is this going to be a 1,200 square foot home? I'd like to know that answer. Is it going to be a 3,000 square foot home? I highly doubt that. So these are things as a homeowner that I've lived there, and like I said, I'm a business owner and own a business in Paulding County, and I know for a fact right across the street from where my business is currently located, they put shared driveways. In the houses that they built, I have nothing but problems of theft, and I have problems with the police coming constantly because of the people that live in these shared driveway homes. I've worked too hard all my life to, I guess, to lay down and go without a fight. And there's a lot of questions. I'd like to have a copy of the HOA. What is that going to be? Can I get a copy of that? Is there going to be a covenant? I would like to know all this stuff. I mean, before somebody starts building behind my $1 million home, which I'm very proud of, I'd like to know these things. And I would think each and every one of you sitting up there would like to have the same answers if you owned a nice home and had it for years, and somebody wants to come build a subdivision behind you and cut corners. That tells me they're not going to build the type of house that I would like to see go in my neighborhood. My property value will go down, but I promise you my taxes won't. So I would like some answers to some questions. And before you guys say, yes, we'll let all this pass, I think we're entitled to that.
Do you have any other questions? I've noted down your questions and we're going to have the applicant come back up.
Now, I'm sure I got 100, but I'm too upset.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or comments about this case? Okay, sir, please come up to the podium.
I'm Bobby Reed. I live on Garman Road. I'm Cheryl Reed's husband. We've lived there since '87. Seen a lot of changes, a lot of them not good, some, a few good. I need to ask about turn lanes to this development. Is that something we can talk about?
I'll note down the question and we'll ask the applicant when they return.
Okay,
Any other questions?
that's it.
Okay. Ma'am, well, you will need to come back up, I'm sorry.
So, are the driveways all going to be off Ridge Road?
Is that your only additional question?
Yeah. Is
We'll ask the applicant to come back up.
there going to be any entrance or exit off of Garmin? And has any consideration been given to the amount of traffic that goes onto Garmin now without additional houses in the area? So many people use it as a through road. I mean, we can sit on our porch at 5 o'clock and see 20, 25 cars in the space of 15 minutes. So we're not looking for more congestion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who has any questions, concerns, or opposition to case 2025-6-W? Take your time.
He doesn't hear very well, so he might ask you the same questions that we've had.
That's okay.
I'm L.D. Patterson, and my property is next door to Mr. Bullitt and Mr. Richmond. And I'm concerned about the property value and the drainage and all of the traffic's going to be. It's not going to be out in a quiet neighborhood anymore if we get that many houses and stuff in there. It's just too much, too close. We got a good neighborhood now. We don't need all of that in here right now. It's, and I oppose to it. I don't know anything else I can do other than say, well, I don't like it.
Well, that's why you're
I'm
here,
worried
so-
about the drainage and all of that, because
Okay.
it's going to be different.
Your technical questions we'll try to get some answers to, and we'll try to get some of the other ones.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in opposition or has questions about this? If not, we will close the public hearing portion, and I'll ask the applicant, and you probably want to bring your engineer up with you. And I'm going to do my best to go over what some of the questions were. First one I have, how are the driveways connected? Like, how many points of egress do you have on Ridge, Bethel Church Road, and Garmin Road?
So I think we determined there's 4 total off of Ridge, and then Garmin has 1 for 3 homes, and Bethel has 1.
So there's four off of Ridge, 3 off of Garmin, and 1 off of Bethel.
So,
One access
1 access.
off of Garmin for 3 lots.
so just one,
4.
so there's 4
So there's
off of Ridge. What about Bethel Church? So are all the let's start with Ridge. Are there, I'm looking on the south part of Ridge, so there's one way in and one way out.
So I needed to zoom in. I can't quite
Mark,
see here.
can you maybe zoom in a little bit so we can look at? Because if it's hard for me to look at, I'm sure it's hard for.
Hold the control. Where are they? Here?
Yeah.
Is that good enough?
Okay, so we're looking at the proposed
On Ridge.
Ridge.
Correct.
So
there are
there's 2 entrances that line up with each other on Ridge. So there's 4 on Ridge. So let's look
Correct.
at Bethel Church. There's 1,
there.
It's just the one.
the
Correct.
1. And then Garmin, so there's the 1 house will have 1 driveway, am I guessing right? And then 3 houses have 1.
Yes. Yes.
So the total is 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's correct.
So there will be 7 driveway entrances for how many lots?
20.
How many lots?
It's a 20. Sorry.
20. So there'll be 7 entrances instead of 20.
That's correct.
Long story short. Okay. There was the question about the width of the alley, driveway, and George. Jump in. We do not have anyone from the fire department here. I do not know what, and that is,
I believe a fire access road width is 20 feet per state code. Jason may be able to confirm with.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can certainly look at it later. I will say,
but the width of the,
given the unique location of these next to public right-of-way is may obviate the need to have a separate and independent width distance when they're so close to the large public road.
but the width of the alley / driveway will be 20 feet.
That's correct.
Okay. There was a question about the proposed home side. These lots are zoned R2, and it does allow an 1,100 square foot house. So do you have any information on what the proposed builder, what size house they're planning to build?
Typically, what we're seeing is 18 to 2,200 square feet. I thought the minimum was a little bit higher. I thought the minimum was in the 1,400 range, but might be wrong. But
You're wrong.
well, but the expectation
Minimum in
is
R2 is 1,100 square feet.
they'll well exceed the minimum square footage.
Okay, have there been HOA covenants or documents of those available for review?
We're not there yet. Closer to final plat is when we'll draft and review those documents and get them recorded at or around the same time as the final plat.
Just, I'm asking this question, but I think it would be useful to the audience. Where are in the development process are you?
Plans have been submitted. For the most part, we're just trying to get these waivers and should be to permit here shortly after.
Okay. Turn lanes, are there any turn lanes?
We did complete a traffic study, not on the portion of the property that we're talking about. Now, what I consider the 21 lots, the conventional subdivision, does meet those guidelines for, I guess, just decel.
So there will be decel lanes for the new street?
But not for these, yes.
Not for these, okay. There's a question about driveways off Ridge. I think we determined there are 4 driveways off of Ridge. How much, and on Garmin, there will be 2. And Bethel Church has 1. There was a question about the traffic on Garmin Road. Do you have any, I don't know, between you and George, sorry to put you on the spot, but do you know anything about traffic counts on Garmin Road?
Just my take on it, these minimizing the access points only helps with potential traffic incidents. It's just my opinion. So having the one access point for the 3 lots off of Garmin, it helps with any potential cut through traffic. We mentioned the turnarounds being on the homes. People won't be backing out into Garmin. They'll be pulling forward. And they'll be pulling forward from the same spot. So to me, it's actually a benefit to have these versus individual driveways for each. And then on the other side of Garmin is just 1 lot. There's nothing, there's no waiver request there.
Gotcha. The last gentleman, do you have any ideas what the property values of the proposed homes, what those values might be? Can you give us any idea of what a sales price of the homes might be?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, just from experience, I mean, everybody knows how unaffordable homes are these days. I mean, to build a home in Paulding County for under $4,000
$4,000 or 40?
400,000 would be extremely difficult anyway. And then it varies from there, right? Your square footage and your option packages are really what determine the prices, but it's almost impossible to build anything cheaper these days.
Okay. The last question was another question about drainage. Do you have any?
As it pertains to the shared.
Yeah.
So shared driveways are directed into one of our stormwater management facilities. So there will be no adverse effects to downstream properties when it comes to pre versus post-developed flows.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I believe if there's anything else you'd like to say.
Just in general, I think that this helps safety and doesn't hinder safety. Having these in the front, having less access points, I think are a benefit and not a detriment. I don't feel that shared driveways increase crime or there's any correlation in any way. Seen a lot of beautiful homes off of shared driveways with this similar layout, and I think this will be another great example of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, any luck on?
Well, limited research was able to do on the Georgia Fire Code, fire apparatus access. I believe the minimum for public roads is going to be 20 feet. This is not going to be a public road.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We are at the point where looking for a motion on this, and just recall that I had made a suggestion about turnarounds for the driveways, as well as some sort of landscaping visual. Go for it.
Obviously, when there's new development that comes in, especially around existing homes, existing property owners, people have been there for a while, it's a big change. What I would recommend, the developer get with the people who've spoken here at this meeting, see what you can do to help possibly alleviate some of their concerns as it regards to buffers, fences, et cetera. Again, you know, you want to be good neighbors with these folks who've been there a while, so.
Okay, thanks. So now we are ready for a motion, and I just wanted to remind everyone on the committee that I threw out 2 suggested stipulations, the requiring a turnaround in the driveway and some sort of landscaping fence, some sort of visual buffer between the road and the alley/driveway. So with that, I will ask if there is a motion.
Motion to approve with the front entry garage and landscaping.
Just to clarify your motion, Mr. Jones, motion to approve with a front entry garage and landscaping, is that your motion?
Do you want the turnaround?
We can do the turnaround also.
All right, is it
Front
include-
entry garage, landscaping, and turnaround in lot.
To back out of the front entry
Right.
garage. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry.
Motion from Mr. Jones with 3 stipulations, seconded by Mr. Wooten. Are there any questions? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor to approve this request with 3 stipulations signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? If there are none, that request is approved with 3 stipulations. Moving on to our next agenda item. Let Mark switch out the map while I read it. Our next case is case 2025-4-W. It is Artisan Built Communities, care of Gaskins LaCroix. Joel Larkin requesting to waive development regulation 2.2 alley definition and 5.4.8 requirements for street design and access of a development project. Property is located in Land Lot 600, District 3, Section 3, along the north side of Seven Hills Boulevard and west of Treadstone Lane in Post 4. Is the applicant present?
Good afternoon. My name's Joel Larkin. I'm with the law firm Sams, Larkin and Huff in Marietta. And I'm going to lead by saying it's an exciting time to be in Seven Hills right now. I hadn't been out there in a while with the construction and things, but I went out to look at this site last night, and the new amenity package is well under construction, and I know folks out there got to be excited. This project sits directly behind the new amenity package, which is just east of the closed landfill and the recycling center. If you go out there now, you'll see that the site has been graded for the amenity package in the entrance road, and curb and gutter is installed. And that's material to this application. Artisan owns additional property, if you look, that's behind the amenity package up across the power lines, and they've submitted a development plat to do 40 additional lots there. And that's generated this application for a waiver and permission to build front entry alleys similar to the ones that you just heard. This one's motivated by a little bit different scenario. Your current UDO requires that no driveways, or it precludes driveways from having direct access to a boulevard. and the road that's coming in by the amenity package and back to this area of the development is designed as a boulevard because the long-term plan is to extend this road across the landfill property and into about a 400-acre tract that's owned, I believe, by Horton, and then hook it back into Riverwalk. So this is going to be a thoroughfare that helps provide connectivity and improves transportation in the Seven Hills area. And that's a good thing, but that imposes a little bit of a hardship on Artisan in this case, because the opportunity to build that boulevard, it has to be threaded through a very narrow piece of property with the landfill and its slopes on one side and some blue line streams that you can see on the plan on the other. And the effect of that is, normally when you develop houses along a boulevard, you would develop those lots so that they had direct access to two different roads. They would front, or they would back up to the boulevard or side to the boulevard, and then there'd be another road. That's impossible in this layout with the topography and other situations here. So what we're proposing here is 9 conventional lots that front on that boulevard, but instead of having driveways out to it, we're proposing an alleyway that runs along the front of the property, similar to what the last application had. And that would serve those 9 lots. There'd be one entrance on either end. It'd be a 2-way alleyway, 22 feet wide, that would be maintained by the association. And this was a plan that I think was jointly derived between the applicant and the Department of Transportation. So we need 2 waivers. One, we need a waiver from the requirement or the definition of an alleyway in the current UDO, because by definition, an alley is located in either the side yard or the rear yard. If it's in the front yard, then it's not an alley under your UDO. There is no concept for a front alley unless you waive
Let me
it.
just stop you. The development regulations are currently not a portion of our unified development
I'm sorry,
ordinance. They are standalone.
the development
That's what
regs.
this body is here to hear waivers to the development regulations,
You are
which have
correct.
not yet been incorporated. So just one.
You're right. So what we're doing is we're asking for a waiver on the definition that allows this to be an alley in the front yard. And then the second waiver goes to the layout to allow it to be built as shown on the plan that's been submitted. And we've submitted, and you have in your packet, but we've submitted the layout, and included in that is a detailed plan that shows how the alley would relate to the lots and to the right-of-way. And in response, Mr. Wooten, I know you're going to ask, we're currently showing an 8-foot separation between the right-of-way and the alley, so plenty of room for the water meter. So what we're showing is we've got the existing right-of-way, and then we've got an 8-foot strip of grass or landscaping or whatever. Then we've got the 22-foot wide alleyway that runs horizontal to the street, much like the access drives do in commercial developments. And then we've got a 20-foot setback from there to the structure that would be built. And that 20-foot is consistent with the setback that the other houses in the area would have from the right-of-way. So you'd get a similar layout. And happy to respond to any questions that you have at that point.
Does anybody have any questions?
Is that a mail kiosk at the end, and that's going to serve how many units? You know, there's a parking lot at the end of that street, I assume that's a mail kiosk parking lot?
I'm going to have to let somebody else respond to that. I think not. I think it's just additional parking, but. Is it- You sign in and introduce yourself. Okay.
It's just additional parking.
Hi, I'm Cal McShann. I'm representing Artisan today. We actually add an additional area for parking for the, just for the model. So that's kind of a temporary parking area because we wanted to put the models right in that location. So we were adding like that temporary parking area for that, for the models. And then we would take that out at a later date once the houses are completely
I
built.
just didn't know if it was a mail kiosk, you might have a whole lot more lots.
Bruce, actually, we actually have a mail kiosk back at the amenity addition. So that had already been approved that's going to be where the the kiosk will be. So they'll go into that parking area to get their mail before they go up to and actually, that's Shelley Boulevard now, so that's the name of that boulevard going up to these 37 units.
I'll just go ahead and ask some of the similar questions I asked with the previous one, just a different case, just to get them on the record. This will not be a public street. It would be a private street maintained, you stated, by the,
That is correct. The
By the
association
HOA.
would be responsible for it.
will it operate as two-way traffic?
Yes, ma'am.
The garages, I'm going to assume again that they will be front entrance. Would you be willing to agree to a stipulation to front entry garages with a turnaround?
We are not able to do a turnaround. As I said, we've got a 20-foot setback from this drive, similar to the 20-foot setback we have on the other conventional lots, and there's not room within 20 feet, so they would operate the same way.
So you'll have to back into the...
You would back into the alley just like you would in a typical street layout.
Okay, so you're not agreeable to a turnaround?
Yeah, we don't have room to accommodate that.
Okay. Would you be agreeable to a fence or landscaping between the boulevard and the alley?
I believe we have a agreed-upon landscape and fence proposal going up and down the whole boulevard, and we're gonna be part of the boulevard. So it'll be consistent with the boulevard landscaping.
So that's a yes?
Yes.
You would be agreeable to some sort of landscaping between the boulevard and the alley?
Yes.
Looks like.
And I think most of Seven Hills, we have that black type
Yes,
fencing that
I
we'll
noticed
use.
that
And so,
yesterday, and
yeah,
I thought if you had that black fencing and some trees between it, that would provide a little bit of a
Yeah,
a
we'll do
barrier.
that with the landscape, and we'll kind of go with our fence kind of design and detail for Seven Hills. So, we'll incorporate that to our plan.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Approximate square foot of the homes you intend to build and/or price range, just curious.
The only thing I can say is they'll be consistent with the other homes in the neighborhood. Cal, have you got square footage? And the price range goes up every week, so whatever we say is.
The price ranges in Seven Hills are like 5, 6, in that price range. I would assume that would be in that area, like 2,000-3,000 square foot on those houses usually. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. At this point, I will ask if there is anyone who would like to speak in favor of this application. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or concerns? Okay, there are none, and I will just state the Planning and Zoning Division of Community Development did receive several calls and in-person inquiries regarding the application. So, with the public hearing portion closed, I would ask if anybody would like to make a motion and just to remind whoever that might be that they did seem agreeable to installing the typical landscaping that is along Seven Hills entire development. So,
I motion we approve 2025-04-W with the alleyway up front with a landscape buffer. And, yeah, front entry garage.
okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, all right. All right, we have a motion to approve with two stipulations, the front entry garage and a landscaping enhancement in between the alley and the boulevard. Are there any questions, comments? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? There are none. The request is granted unanimously. Moving on to item number 6. I think this is a record. Welcome to the Development Waiver Review Committee, Tabitha. We thought we'd get lots of practice today. Item number 6 is case 2025-05W, application by Elite Engineering, LLC, Jonathan Jones, requesting to waive Development Regulation 1.7.3C to allow one private easement to serve as an entrance for 6 residential lots. Property is located in Land Lot 769, District 3, Section 3, east of the intersection at Serenity Lane and Seven Hills Boulevard in Post 2. Is the applicant present?
You want the plat? You want the plat up instead of the map? Let's see. Yep, that's cool. Yeah, you can hold control and roll it. Thank you, sir.
Mark, can you zoom in on it a little bit?
You can try.
Sometimes if you close the tools, which we don't really need, that makes it a little bigger.
Not gonna help much because it won't change the height.
Yeah.
That's about as good as we can do it, but Jonathan can roll in of a certain area if they need to. If I need to roll.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jonathan with Elite Engineering. I'm here representing Serenity Partners, Seven Hills LLC. This tract of land is a little bit over 30 acres. You may or may not recall, we submitted this thing last year for a rezoning for an R55. The front portion of this project is already an R55 called Serenity. Ryan Homes is building the homes. The developer withdrew that application and is opted to go with a large estate lot type development. It'll be 6 total lots. They range in size from just under 4 acres to almost 6 acres. Sanitary sewer is on the north part of the property and is intended to be tapped in and brought to each of the homes down the center line of the proposed roadway. Likewise, there'll be public water that'll be conveyed out the existing cul-de-sac of the neighborhood, and it will be run along the roadway as well. There'll be an ingress, egress, and utility easement if approved. And the request is basically, instead of having 2 30-foot easements, it would be just one 50-foot easement with a 20-foot wide road that would access the 6 homes on the 30-plus acres in the back. Trying to cover all of it. There'll be an HOA with the covenants that'll have a maintenance agreement that all parties will have to, agree to maintain that roadway from the public right-of-way of the existing subdivision to the very back lot that's back there. I'll be happy to answer any additional questions. It's currently zoned R2. Like I said, the front portion is zoned R55. There's not any intentions of doing any kind of additional zoning hereafter, so if approved, we would intend to go straight into the development of this spine road and the sell off of these estate lots.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Will this development be part of the R55 Serenity HOA, or will it be separate?
It'll be separate. One, my client did not want to be a part of that HOA, and 2, that HOA did not want them to be a part of that. So it's an amicable agreement. They will have their own set-aside HOA that will dictate what those 5 lots can do on their properties.
Your intention is to submit separate construction drawings for this roadway prior and the road complete, I assume hard surface?
Yes, so it is our intent to submit the design criterias. It'll be a private roadway, so I don't think that we would be bound, unless I'm wrong, about to install a true county road pavement section. The intent for the road is to use, I think, asphalt clippings to create a hard surface for it. That's the intent for this.
But you do intend to build the road prior to processing a final plat?
Yes.
Permit and build prior?
Yes.
Not waiting on individual lots to build?
No, it's the intent to put the spine road in and then subdivide the lots off of it, yes.
I went out there yesterday, and how are you going to get over that ravine?
It's going to be a tough one. It takes about 22,000 yards of dirt, and we've got to put a pipe in there and pay mitigation. But we did it in phase one, and unfortunately, the price to do that's almost $250,000,
Yeah.
but it's what is going to be required to do.
Because it might be fun to swing over like Tarzan, but I don't know how you would.
Unfortunately,
get
no
back
matter what we
over.
do, we've got to cross that creek, so we're trying to cross it at the highest part or the upper end of it. But yeah, it'll be a costly crossing.
So that will be part of, you will submit.
Yes, ma'am, it'll be
Construction plans.
construction drawings, just like it's any other community, yes, ma'am.
And just, George kind of stole my question, but based on your rezoning that you submitted last year, that's an 87% reduction in what you were asking for. I just have to ask.
I went from 45
why?
lots to 6.
We would love for a lot of other people to reduce their density
I'll be
by
honest with you.
87%.
The developers of phase 1 and 2 were uncooperative in a price point that made sense. They wanted to buy that back property about 60% less than they bought the front. And so my client was like, not gonna happen this time. So he opted to go with large estate lots, and there's a builder that's hasn't fully contracted, but he intends to build very high quality homes back there. Probably the same builder who's building very large homes on Snoke Jones Road.
Okay. You stated that this is not going to be part of Serenity amicably. Do they have any issues with you? I mean, I know the roads in Serenity, that road's not a public road yet. Did they
No.
have any issue with you accessing this development through?
There's a contractual obligation from them during the original sale of the property that coming out of that cul-de-sac, there's an established 50-foot right-of-way that
Okay.
gets out of the cul-de-sac to the creek. And then thereafter, the intent would be to go with a private easement. In hindsight, we wish we would have done 60-foot. But we thought they were going to buy it, and it would just be an
Right.
extension, and it
Right.
would be 50 foot, and it would be another phase of the neighborhood, and it would all go hunky-dory, but that did not exactly go that way. So, yes, there is already a 50-foot owned access from this client that they can't deny him access.
Okay. Last question. Our current private easement subdivision, you can only have 6 lots. That's why you're here, asking for permission.
That's correct.
These will not be subdivided.
These will not be subdivided, no ma'am.
Is that something that will be in the covenants?
We can put it in the
that
covenants.
owners
Yep, absolutely.
would
No subdivision of
be
property
aware of?
allowed.
Because we get calls every day when people see a 5-acre tract.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
how
they
many
wanna
can I
check-
subdivide
Yeah,
that
want to
into?
put their daughter next door, I get it.
Yeah,
No,
so
that's not the
There
intent
would
with
be
this
no
development.
private easements off this private easement.
That's correct.
Okay. That's the end of my questions.
Yeah, no intention of doing anything such, no.
Question for you on your drawing, those phase 2 marks, is that open space for phase 2? Is there intention to build in those areas?
No, it's really
That's
steep
open
topo,
space
it's completely
related
wooded.
to-
So the good thing is all these estate lots would literally be 500 to 600 foot through woods before you ever got to the back of any of the existing homes. So if anything, the homes to the north that are in Seven Hills will be more visible than the homes that are within Ryan Homes community, so.
And these will be tertiary building permits? 'Cause
Tertiary
they
building.
will, I would assume, come in slower because the
Yeah, I
pipelines
doubt
and
very
bigger
seriously they're gonna
houses.
start 6 of these houses at one time because they're gonna be pretty pricey. So, yeah, there'll be individual tertiaries done on them, yeah.
Any other questions? Right? Nothing? Okay, thank you. At this point, I will ask if there is anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this application. Favor? Okay, is there anybody who would like to speak in opposition or ask questions or concerns? Please come up.
But I live in Serenity, and I'm your neighbor, and I walk those hills every night. And although I'm not the mayor of Serenity yet, I've been told to come to this meeting to get information. So I have a question.
Okay, can you just state your name?
Oh, Luann Marston.
Okay.
So I live on the Serenity Road, the last house on the right before you go up the hill. My question is, where are they talking about? Because when I go up that hill every night, it T-bones.
Okay, I had a hard time myself finding it yesterday, so if you're in Serenity.
And then you take a right.
It's the closer to
The rear,
Seven
way
Hills
in the
Boulevard
back or
than Seven Hills.
So when I go into the neighborhood, I take a left.
Would you
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
If that's okay.
they're gonna ask me tonight. I
'Cause
know
we
they
went the
are.
wrong way yesterday,
So when you
too.
come in your neighborhood and you
Yep.
turn right, and your amenities on the left.
Yep.
And you go down there and take a left, and you
Yep.
cross the creek to
I'm,
where
ri-
they're.
I'm right there, the last house on the right.
Well, this is phase two, so.
Oh, no,
yeah.
no.
So you're in phase one.
Right.
All right, they're developing phase two now. It'll be on the very back side of the cul-de-sac of phase two. So you're
Oh.
here, it's a long way from you. All of this has got to be finished out.
So you're not talking about that, you're talking about something, okay.
Yep, it's way back in the back, yes, ma'am. It's not where they're grading now, it's below the next creek and on the next hillside.
Okay, that I can explain.
Yes, very
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Sure. I guess we're going back to in favor.
Okay, I'm Ted Paris, I'm the landowner. Our thoughts to this is, we have the R55 community. It's typically the older people, not the younger people who are buying these, it's R55. My thought process on this was this would provide an extended family, maybe somebody's family member with their grandkids or other, to be able to live on some larger estate type living here there's not a lot of in the area. And so we just seen it as an opportunity. We couldn't get together with the original developer on access point to add these, so we just decided, hey, we'll just do this way. So that's our whole purpose of it, is to offer more out here in that area for that age group.
Okay, thank you. Like when I drive through a lot of our R55 communities, I notice that people have little dogs, and this is where you would have your big dog. You can have your big dog on your big lot.
Rottweiler Hill.
Yeah. How about a chocolate lab? Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to ask any questions? Sure, come on up.
It does.
Will this new development use the same roads on Serenity Road,
Yes.
Serenity Loop? It
Yes.
would be communal?
Yes.
Okay. And how many homes, you said how many homes were there?
6.
6 homes, okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, now I believe we are done with the public comment portion, so I will close that, and I will ask if anybody has a motion on this agenda item.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Coyle. Does anybody have any questions or comments? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. The motion is approved 5-0. Which brings us to our last case of the day. This is a stream buffer variance. This is case 2025-03 SBV, application by Elite Engineering, Jonathan Jones, requesting to reduce the 75-foot impervious buffer setbacks for 2 lots to allow the construction of a larger home. Property is located in land lot 1340, District 3, and Section 3 on the north side of Old Cartersville Road. The address is 1933 Old Cartersville Road, and it is located in Post 4. And the applicant's present, if you'd like to come up, but I have a question before you do your presentation. The request is for the 75-foot impervious buffer. We don't have a 75-foot impervious buffer per se. We have, the state has 25-foot buffers. Then there's an additional county 25-foot buffer, and then there's a 25-foot impervious setback. So is all you are asking for is to get into the impervious setback?
Yes, ma'am. I did notice that when it came out on the agenda, it said buffer. I mentioned to Chris buffer, and he said just explain when you get up there the difference between impervious setback and buffer if there's any opposition.
Okay, so we are only committee members considering encroaching into the 25-foot impervious setback. Okay, go for it.
Like Ms. Sand said, that's an impervious setback. You can clear in it, you can grade in it, you know, you can do a lot within it, but you're not legally supposed to put in any impervious, obviously why it's called an impervious setback. So our intention, they want to build a 46-foot deep home. It's about 7 feet shy, and plus the patio. So we're requesting to impact the impervious setback only for the purpose of them building a larger home on these two lots. The mitigation that we proposed is something that we do quite often over in Cobb County. And it's a flow well system where the roof drains will be collected and be piped to basically a large canister that's buried in the ground that has gravel and some geotextile fabric. It treats the water and then it discharges it in the creek. That's the mitigation that we were proposing. We feel like that's a better mitigation, frankly, than trying to add some shrubbery and landscaping in that backyard. We've done them, like I said, quite a bit in Cobb County, and they seem to be real receptive, and they enjoy, they like them. Lot 11, our encroachment would be about 2,200 square foot of impact area. Lot 12 would be about 3,000 square foot of impact area. This particular subdivision, right, wrong, or indifferent, was it was submitted for zoning about the time the perimeter buffers came in, and it reduced it down, and then we had to go through a waiver for a left turn, got hit with that one pretty good. So I am politely and asking you guys to consider this a favorable vote for this impact, if at all possible. If I'll be happy to answer any additional questions you have.
Any questions?
Okay, Jonathan, you do see there's a sewer right there.
Yes, sir. That's the city sewer line, and our intent, we will not put any impervious over it.
Okay, you also do see that you're putting something within their easement.
Well, we're not putting anything within their easement.
Well,
The setback is their sewer easement is within the setback, impervious setback. So we can clear, that easement's already cleared, obviously. You can clear it and grade it and do whatever you want, but you can't put something impervious into their easement. We're not showing the home on that site plan. That's just the encroachment area.
No, I'm talking about you've got the flow well in their sewer easement. Look on lot 11.
Okay, I do see that. I apologize. It will not be in their sewer easement. It'll be outside their sewer easement. I'm sorry for that. I didn't see that. Looks like maybe 12 is safe, but 11's about a foot inside their easement, it looks like. But it will not be inside their easement. And in fact, it'll probably be on the lower corner of the lot anyway, so.
Yeah, I just want Brandon to know that we're looking after him too.
Yeah, totally. Oh, you won't have to worry about Brandon. Brandon will catch it.
Okay.
He's got an eye in the sky or something. He catches it all, so. But yeah, no, there's no intent for the flow well. If we need to put a stipulation that flow well not be located inside the easement, we can do that too. It's not the intent. It's just to treat the water and let it release into the creek that's there.
And how slow do these things let the water out?
So it's a percolation. So it really depends on the perimeter soil. You create the medium. The water goes into these, they're like large black canisters. And the water goes into them, and then all the way around them, there's a geotextile fabric with a number 57 stone. So it percolates through that, and then it ultimately has a weeping pipe that comes out the bottom, and it'll go into that pipe and like a French drain, and it'll exit. But it's a very, very slow seepage. When I say slow, you can't really tell that there's even water coming out of it hardly. It's less than a trickle out of a typical faucet.
Okay, again, just wanting to make sure that
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brandon doesn't have mush. So,
Yep, I understand.
And these will be HLP with detailed site plans on each one of these lots?
Yes, sir. Yes,
No
sir. And
issue
the
with
final
that.
plat's in there now, Bruce, so if you want to,
Is
you may have
this
already done it, but definitely.
Is it a primary, secondary, or is it primary permittee selling them? We going?
Yeah, so Smith Douglas is building all these homes.
Permit?
Yeah, so Smith Douglas will take on as the primary when Chris Corley sells the lots to Smith Douglas. They'll become the new primary. They'll be the end user ultimately to the seller. Yeah.
What type of maintenance do these flow wells require?
The good thing about these things is they don't clog up unless they're installed improperly, just like any other septic system. They literally catch the water. In the event that there's a clog in the actual system, there's a bypass chamber that allows the water to go around and just bypass the system. I don't foresee that ever coming into play, but it does have a safety measure so that if it did clog up or something happened to the actual facility, it has a bypass where the water will come out the top of a pipe and go around it and enter back into the discharge chamber.
I just assume, water sometimes is silty.
Yeah.
So again, it's going to filter that out too.
Yeah, well, and the good thing about it is we're going straight from roof drain to the facility. So in theory, you shouldn't get silt and stuff off of your roof. It should be petroleum residual from the roofing.
Leaves.
In theory.
Leaves, yeah.
I clean my gutters out.
Grit and leaves, if you.
And leaves, yeah. So.
All right. How big are these flow wells? How much volume do they?
So the flow wells themselves are equivalent, slightly larger than a 55-gallon drum. They have a top on them, so in the backyard, it literally will look like a little black manhole lid. You can pop it open, you can look inside it. If you did need to add rock, you could add rock. If you needed to flush it out, you could flush it out. They're really easy to maintain in the fact that they're basically garbage cans, if you really just with gravel around them that percolates. So there's nothing fancy about them. And if flow wells is something that you guys are concerned about, I could call for some landscaping instead or whatever. I just felt like this was a better mitigation because it's treating the water instead of just letting it drain straight into the 50-foot county buffer.
Last question. If you were not able to get this waiver, what size house would you be able to fit on this lot? 'Cause you said
1,200 square foot.
1,200? Okay.
And they want to build on one of them 1880, the other one a 2120. So, and all of the homes in there are going to be at least 2,000, so they really wanted a comparable product.
Okay, thank you. I think we don't have any questions, so I'll ask if there's anyone present who would like to speak in favor of this application. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or comments? All right, I'll close the public hearing portion and I'll ask if anybody would like to make a motion on case number 2025-3-SBV.
I make a motion, we approve the stream buffer variance with the flow wells as the applicant submitted.
Just to clarify, Mr. Coyle, is that approving it with the flow well within Dallas's easement or outside of Dallas's easement?
Oh, the flow wells will not be located on Dallas's sanitary sewer easement.
Thank you.
Got a motion? Anybody like to second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Cole, seconded by Mr. Wooten to approve with stipulation that a flow well is installed and that it is located outside of Dallas's sanitary sewer easement. Any questions? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Variance granted, and we have come to the end of today's meeting, so I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
And second.
Second? All right. All in favor on the motion from Mr. Jones, seconded by Mr. Wooten to adjourn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.
Thank you all.